I gather there was a fire at Heathrow the other day, and I was at an event yesterday, and somebody was talking about a number of things in the news, and they mentioned the fire, and I looked at them a bit blankly because I thought, I have no idea what you're talking about. What fire? What are you talking about? And apparently, of course, this has been on mainstream news. It's been, I guess, in newspapers. It's even been quite prolific over the internet. If you happen to have the subscriptions or you've been looking at news channels, it will just pop up, of course. And another thing that people have told me that's been going on is fire up in Scotland on the Highlands, on the moors, I suppose you might call it. And it's interesting that I had no notion of what was going on. And I realised, of course, that I actually isolate myself from all the mainstream news. And you would think, oh, but Richard, you know, you're in the so-called truth and freedom movement. You're offering an alternative view to things. Shouldn't you not be scrutinising and analysing the news as it comes? And I suppose in some ways, maybe I ought to, if I wanted to get more bums on seats, as it were, if I wanted to get more views, if I was interested in, well, if I had a channel that was monetized, by the way, that would be quite handy, although this isn't monetized, and I do this now really, what would you say, for love, for enthusiasm, as a hobby? It's not a profession as such, or do I do it because I feel it's a necessity to talk to you, the lovely audience sitting there, and put forward ideas, suggestions, of what I think is my opinion of things that are going on, and of course the interviews that I do as well. And by the way, anybody who has donated, thank you so much, because that's the only way this channel can get going. I am effectively busking on the internet, and if you find it in any way rewarding, then I very much appreciate you donating to it. I appreciate at the same time, of course, we've all got these huge amount of bills that we're all expected to pay. So if you know, people are doing it, then it's very graciously received, and thank you. And it's lovely to go to these events, by the way, when people do come up and they shake your hand and they say, actually, Richard, you know, really appreciate what you're doing. I mean, it's humbling, it really is. Anyway, my main point is really that I do isolate myself from so much of the news that I get to a point where I don't really know what's going on anymore. I don't want to create it, manifest it. I don't want to be in fear of it. I don't want it to play on my mind. I'm writing a book. I have time with my lovely girlfriend, the lovely Julia. I go for walks when I can. I'm enjoying life to the fullest that I can, albeit that I'm aware of certain nasties that have been played upon us, and I have different ideas and solutions, talking points, I suppose. And I don't need to go and pick up a phone and follow news channels to be frightened, or to have my subconscious mind filled with terror and worries and illness, effectively. And I think that is the problem. Now, I've probably talked about this before, and many people do. And if I go and if I find myself, and I do try now more and more to say, no, put the phone down, don't go scrolling on YouTube, pick up a book, and I've got plenty of books, smoke my pipe, and get into a sort of Zen moment where I'm thinking for myself rather than letting other people think for me. And it does seem, if I end up on the phone scrolling, that the terror of just the thumbnails of people itching to get you to press their video because they want to tell you something terribly frightening and terribly important. And I try as best I can not to do that. Obviously, I would like people to see my videos, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter financially, I suppose. I'm not doing it to gain money necessarily. For me, this is important because I want people to be able to analyze and think for themselves. So yesterday I put out a video saying I don't think, it's my own humble opinion, that it is a good idea to register children and be put into a system that we know is against them. And what right, in a way, have we to submit our children, our offspring, our boys and girls, to bring it back into a lawful language, to bring our boys and girls in and put them imprison them into that system? It's just my opinion. And it was interesting to read the comments. And the reason I sometimes put these videos, well, they're all talking points. They're all engaged and put together and thought about, sometimes very roughly, sometimes not terribly well, sometimes on the spur of the moment these ideas will come to me. But they're there to put to you as something to think about. I think people have lost the ability to think for themselves. That we see outside in the world, that so many people will take their thinking and their reasoning from others, and very often from those in frames on screens, and sadly more so from mainstream media, which they even know is biased. They'll buy a paper knowing it's biased. They'll subscribe to YouTube channels which tell them things that they want to hear rather than things that might challenge them. We've lost that ability, and I believe that's true in universities and at schools. The children who go to schools and students who go to universities are not challenged anymore. They're sort of given, they become customers, haven't they? When the council wrote to me when I was pushing back against the tax, and they said, "Dear customer," I had to assert myself with them and say, "Excuse me, I'm not a customer. A customer assumes that I've come into your premises and ordered something. If I have ordered the council tax, by the way, can you again show me the order form where I ordered the services and I have signed for it? Where is it deemed that I've asked for these things when I moved into my house quite happily and quite happy to take my refuse to the tip, actually, quite happy to go around with a torch, thank you very much, quite happy to do these things, but you just assumed that I would have street lighting and all these other bits, and now you're billing me for them. I didn't walk into your premises." And sometimes you have to talk in these ways and challenge people and say, hang on a second, I'm not just going to acquiesce. And this is really what I feel the importance of videos like this that I make and others make, is to challenge people to say, what do you think? Think for yourself. Don't just accept what is going on. Going back to the names and registering our boys and girls, our offspring, and putting them into the system, you think that this is only a new thing, 100 years or so, that we've been doing this. In the old days, people were named by their mums and dads, and that was it. There was no official list of it. Yes, you had kids being baptized, I suppose, but if you weren't baptized, if you were just Fred or Oyu or Baldy or Vobesy or whatever you wanted to call yourself, you had the liberty to do that. And you weren't in a system where people were tracking you and now injecting you with little mini Bluetooth whatnots going around your body so that you can walk into a room and be traced. This is madness, that we are still acquiescing to the nonsense that they want. We're all free thinkers, are we not? We've lost that ability to think for ourselves and question. And so when I put ideas up and opinions, these are in many ways, they're not directions. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm not telling you how to think. And I may call a thumbnail, you know, don't register your children or something. It's there as a, should we do that? Isn't there a better way? Could we not build a new society? Can we move away from this one society, this one idea, this thing that we've been given to us? And yes, history is a very useful thing. We can look back and go, hang on a second, didn't people have Bibles in the old days? Whether you're religious or not, whether you have a belief in God or not, was not that family Bible a place you put your own information about births, marriages and deaths at the beginning, at the front. It was a sort of personal record. Why does the state or the government and anybody else need to know about your own family business? And I think that's very important, and I think we should get back to that, where only the family need to have that as a record for themselves, not the state, not anybody else. Keep your bloody nose out of my business. We live in the private. Instead of going out there into the public arena and giving away all our data, as we do on Facebook and on Twitter and all these other free platforms, we just give away our data. Why not keep it in the private? It's our business. We don't need them snooping about, looking at everything we do. It's time, I think, in my opinion, that we start withholding that information, and not registering the children, as I said in the previous video, is part of that. Part of that. Hang on a second, you want some council tax from me? You prove that I've ordered it. I'm not a customer of yours, thanks very much, big corporation. You prove that I've ordered it. Or give me a menu of things that I might want. Yes, okay, it's convenient for me to have my bins taken by a team of people. Give me a menu and tell me how much that bit costs a year. That's what I would like, thanks very much. And how much is it costing me to have the street lights? And if they're LED street lights, do I really want those, especially those with the blue lights that are affecting me? The 5G, how much is that costing me, and do I really want it? These are sort of the questions that we should be doing, instead of just acquiescing and saying, oh, well, that's the council. They're doing it for the best. Are they? Are they really? These are the talking points that I think we should be having in more common and spreading. We don't necessarily need to talk about big, nasty agendas coming in. But maybe if we get people interested in their environment again, then those other things come in. But as far as being interested as the mainstream news and fires at Heathrow and fires away, I mean, obviously if it's nearby you, of course it's going to be relevant. But we're constantly being worried, aren't we, by stuff that is actually of no worry to us whatsoever. And then we're in fear that the thing, as William Cobbett would call it, is always in control. Now, let's just hold back our data. Let's just hold back and keep our thoughts on nice, pleasant things and not worry about the nasty all the time. Because I believe that we're manifesting it. And all the time the dark forces give us something to worry about, we're manifesting more of it. So there we are. I hope that's been of interest. Thank you so much. And if you are inclined to help keep the channel going, all the different links are in the description. And you can even buy a tiny piece of gold or silver on the link below, and then it accrues, and then at a certain time it helps with the channel. Anyway, thanks for watching. Till next time, goodbye.